Hey, so this is Scumhead. I wanted to do a little update / showcase video on what I'm doing with Lycanthorn 2. First what we got here is just a little tutorial area. It's all this shit I'm showing off today is like, it's all work in progress, so it's very subject to change, especially the tutorial dialogue stuff. I know it's hard to see probably, but I wanted to put in a tutorial sequence because a lot of the projects I've done, people have been like, well, I had no idea how to do that until I was forced to. So I wanted to, like, hey, you can use your special moves. Every character is gonna have a 3 different abilities they can choose from. And I wanted to have this sort of be the intro. As for the design of this area, definitely work in progress still. It can be kind of shitty looking and horrible on the eyes in certain places, but it's kind of hard to do that when I'm having the maps all be full bright, sort of retain that sort of NES look, and have the colors be the colors. But it's a really fun challenge. I like it. It's dope. Adding NPCs into this game is one of the biggest, newest things I'm trying out with Lycanthorn 2. Being able to talk to random townspeople, shit like that. It'd be a great. This whole project is like a learning lesson for me to learn different things I want to implement into Vomitorium. So you can see like dialogue here, boss health bars, which isn't in yet, but that's going to be something I'm going to be trying out. Abnormal progression, because this game is open world, so you have an overworld that you can go to the different dungeons at different times, shit like that. But yeah, here we just have like the dialogue with Alucard, and he's like, hey, go to the fucking graveyard, you doofus. So I'll let that play out here. And then I'm like, yep, yeah, okay, I'll do that, buddy pal. And sort of leading you slowly into this world, and having it be open world and have a story. I still want it to be possible that you don't have to pay attention to any of this. You don't have to sit to that dialogue. You can do the tutorial in like 3 seconds and just run straight into the dungeon like I'm doing here. But if you want to, you can spend time exploring the overworld. You can take your time. So I want to accommodate different play styles with this. But here we have the first dungeon. First enemies here. I'd say that this dungeon is probably the most complete out of any of the content I've shown so far. This is still being worked on though, and will still be balanced. Especially the boss. I'm trying to make the bosses much harder and much more interesting in this, but currently she's just using a sort of placeholder moveset until I get something that's more fun to fight. But you'll see that later. I should talk about what's here. Thank God for Sergeant Shivers. See this like wall texture that isn't a nightmare to look at? Thank you, Shivers. Jesus Christ. Where would I be without like the few sprites, the few textures you're made? They make the game look so much nicer, so getting help from the community and just like having them do things I never even thought of is like some of the coolest shit in the whole. Just it's a very positive experience to have. But as you saw earlier, there's levers now which will be used to open doors. So there's little ways I can make these little linear level segments a little bit more interesting with puzzle solving and shit. Really light puzzle solving because it's supposed to be an action game about managing your health and playing, trying to play as flawlessly as possible. But having those little things like here just mix up level design is a very nice thing. As for this guy is probably the most unfinished enemy. He is goofy and bad. But yeah, I'll be working on him to make him a little bit more intimidating, giving him some sound effects. It's supposed to kind of act like an Iron Knuckle from Zelda. As you see, Rain's ranged attack is pretty limited. It has an arc. It doesn't go very far. So differentiating characters and their projectiles is important. But that's a very high damage, attack. And yeah, I almost died. But instead of having the little meat pieces you can find, these secrets, I'm gonna be like having them throughout the levels. So like, hey, good job getting so far. His little pick me up. Like that. And here our first boss. I'm really proud of her base sprite. Other stuff does need some work, but she's the Undead Bride. or the Bride of Undeath, or whatever the fuck I called her, I don't remember. But, of course, with my designs and sprite work, gotta give her nice boobies! I really like how she looks. And she's dead. As you can see, she had like 3 different attacks there. So I want to add more and make them more dangerous, because you can beat most of this by circle strafing. Let's get into some Overworld Exploration now. This is probably one of the most interesting things I'm doing with this project. You can see there's actually 3D models and stuff out here to make it look pretty, like that lighthouse. But I wanted to make a Zelda-type game, and I suppose this is the outlet for that as for right now. Having this big open world you can just go explore. I think it adds a layer of immersion too, like being able to see all these different places you're going to be going to as you unlock more characters to explore the world to its fullest. Like this thing, for example, you need the bombs to actually hit that. That's not implemented yet, but you are going to need bombs in order to break that that cracked sand block and get into this linear dungeon. But there's the bombs, for example. Like they're bouncing right now, but if you threw the bomb right at it, it'd explode immediately. But that's not implemented yet. It will be. Wrath, which is this werewolf guy in armor. Currently, he's not finished, but I won't be finishing him until you unlock him, because using him to just sort of like cheat up and go on top of mountains and sort of fly like that is very very useful for me, just being able to see all the mistakes I've made in the map. You can see the left there, Nosferatu's Castle. We're going to the little ice area. Having all these areas flow in and out of each other, I want you to be able to walk into one area and it feels like a completely new place instead of like the same map, which has been making this little area right here is just so much fucking fun, man. I love working on Lycanthorn so much. Look, a giant fish! Holy fucking shit! Oh my god! Yeah, here we have like these cliff waterfall areas, and as you can see, there's no enemies yet. But yeah, if you notice, there is a day-night cycle, and enemies respawn when it becomes nighttime. As well as some additional new monstrous enemies, but there's no enemies in the game yet, but I can assure you that will be in there. So yeah, a bunch of places to like explore. You can go through this map really freely. I don't want the player to have too much direction, so they will have to do some exploration, but once you know what you're doing, if you want to do a repeat playthrough, you probably bang this shit out pretty quick. But let's just go up onto this cliff here and watch the sunrise. I love doing this, where I can just look back on the fucking how big this map is and see all the different towers and settlements and areas. It's extremely rewarding. Making this was probably one of the most rewarding maps I've ever worked on. And there's the sunrise. Thanks for watching.